Match day number 9, and you wouldn't have it any other way than live here at the Intel Esports Arena. This Super Week is coming to a close, and that's okay with me because these matches we have tonight are absolute bangers. I have the title card right here. I'm going to read it off to you just as it says it to me. Vincere versus G2. What a delight that will be. G2 already finding some success today as an organization in League of Legends, but we don't care about any of that. We care about the Counter-Strike side of things. The second on the ballot card will be Astralis NaVi, and then rounding out with a little bit of Astralis and G2 action. Let's get into ESL Pro League Season 8, Match Day number 9. Get at me, Chad.
Damage as a result. Takes another fight, and the Molly forces him out on the Jisk. Oh my god, he gets the ace.
Gonna try and rush everyone in through mid. Oh, that's all the...
He's going to fall in. Oh, and they line up. Simple with the clutch. 3 players here. Zipex comes through. And Astralis, they've done it.
Sponge, I'm going to roll my sleeves up for this one, man, because today we have some heavy hitters here coming at you live for day number 9.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. Title fight, you already did it. You set it up quite nicely. You loved it. I love the musical theme. But we got some big names. You mentioned it. We got the #1 team in the world, Astralis, the #3 team in the world, NaVi, and the best French team, arguably, of G2, I suppose. But either way, we only have 3 names on the stream tonight, so we're going to see a lot of these squads. We're going to dive deep, we're going to keep tabs, and we're going to bring you all the action.
That's absolutely correct, Chad. Vincere versus G2 will be the first fight that we have this evening on our road to Odense. But perhaps we could take a look at the secondary stream, where in which we're getting that double dose of big, slide in a little bit of phase, and sprinkle on some north, because Wendigo are coming at you too. And I guess on top of that, you also have to mention Heroic and the Freiburg over there and all the good stuff they've got going on, Chad.
Yeah, it was his birthday yesterday. I think he wasn't feeling too well, so hopefully today he's feeling a little bit better. They did get shellacked by Astralis to close out the proceedings of day number 8, but definitely an important one is that middle one, that in that big sandwich will be the FaZe clan taking on North. FaZe desperately needs some victories. I think it's starting to weigh on them with all the losses, the underperformances that are coming in, but I think all the action, all the eyes, all the viewers should be keeping their attention here on the mainstream, because getting to see Astralis, double dose of them, getting the double dose of NaVi, this is the type of Counter-Strike I want to watch. This is the kind of Counter-Strike that gets me excited.
And this is the type of Counter-Strike that you can bet will secure that path to Odense, the largest hub for robots and drones looking for tech talents.
Give us the robot.
What? You want the robot? Is that what you want?
Yeah, they do that in Odense. That's actually where the dance was, it came to life.
Really?
That's a fun fact about Odense.
I feel like you just made that one up.
Everyone can Google search this. It's true. It's probably on Wikipedia somewhere.
That doesn't have to be true then.
Yeah,
I could go on Wikipedia right now and write a biography for you, and there could be some infactual stuff there.
Well, as long as you mention the ESL 1 Cologne 2015 major, where I took on Titan and absolutely dismantled them piece by piece when I was in my playing career, that's fine. You do whatever else you want. You can write mean things about me too.
Let's do this. If you remember this matchup that Chad's talking about, go ahead and tweet at us using hashtag ESL Pro League. Maybe even tie the Sponge in there while you can, because I don't think it ever happened, man. But more importantly than that, let's talk about today's matches. And to go further, perhaps we start talking about where some of these teams stand within the standings of this entire season, because we've already passed the halfway point, Chad.
Yeah, and as I mentioned on that secondary stream, it is very important for FaZe to get victories today. When you bring up the standings, we get to see where everyone's kind of sitting, because it did start quiet. It did start with a team like NaVi not actually having any games played, but now they've caught up to everybody else relatively quickly. There's a few teams we haven't even seen on this mainstream so far. We haven't really seen a lot of from Wendigo. We haven't seen a lot coming in from the likes of Hellraisers either, but bang,
bang, boom, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Astralis sitting at the very tippity top, and they're only halfway there so far. 12 wins, 1 being an OT. They've only suffered 2 OT losses, if I'm reading that right.
Yeah, just to make a sense of this for everybody out there who may be new to the Pro League, the top 7 teams, so from Mouse Sports upwards, will be the ones qualifying for the finals in Odense that we've talked about at the end of the year. Now, just to note, that's why it's important where you place, right? These are going to shift. These are going to change. There's lots of matches still to be played, as we are just over that halfway point right now. And the overtime wins and losses that you just pointed out, Trace, hugely influential as well. If you make it to overtime, you're only going to secure 2 points for the victory. victory as opposed to the normal 3 if you win in regulation. But if you make it to overtime and you lose, you're still going to take home 1 point. It's not bad.
I mean, we could even break it down and start talking about the points a little bit and sort of maybe paint you a better and easier picture, because for what it's worth, Astralis sitting at 39 points.
Quite nice.
The next one there would be Big with 33, and then NaVi coming in at third with 30 flat.
So there's only 15 days of play this time around within the Pro League, right? I think once we make it to day number 12, well, that's when teams should be definitively locked in, I think. That's when, if Astralis can continue this onslaught that they've been putting, Big have been doing fantastically as well. Once we hit those marks, these teams are pretty much going to be locked on in. And that's where, this is where we talk about the early stages. It becomes, more about the middle of the pack. We always see a lot of movement around the 6, 7, 8, 9 mark. And that's where the last day, when all the teams play at once, that's when it all your chickens come home to roost, Trace, because you don't want to be down the bottom 3. You want to make sure you're in the top 7. Anywhere in between that, you're safe for the next season. But it's all about making sure you don't get relegated or making it to those playoffs. So you want to land somewhere in those 2.
At the very least, making it to the playoffs. Now, Chad, we've talked about a few different weapons, and I personally love these armory videos. I think they really do put a weapon in perspective. Either way, we're going to do it for the Bay and talk about the MAC-10. We have our friend in Mads. He's going to be able to break this one down, Barney style, for you at home. Let's go into the armory.
The armory may be jam-packed with huge rifles and lethal pistols, but there's also room for the economically viable SMGs, a weapons category that specializes in money farming and rapid fire rates. Whether you're in need of holding an angle or standing at the ready in a tight corridor, you're good to go with this compact SMG. And the old adage is fitting in this case: good things do come in small packages. It may be a product of the 1960s, but it's timeless in its own way. Developed by Ingram in the USA, it's seen both use in military conflict and drug wars, so it's definitely iconic in its own right. This SMG is great up close and pretty terrible at long ranges. Let's check out the MAC-10. The MAC-10 is only found on the terrorist side. It does 29 damage and can shoot 800 rounds per minute, a more than reasonable hail of bullets to fulfill its purpose, wrecking unarmored opponents. Economy and money management is important in CSGO, so when a pistol round is won, pro players often use the cheap SMGs as they're able to farm their way through opponents, which is CSGO lingo for making money by taking out the enemies, of whom stand little to no chance against the SMGs. The MAC-10 nets $600 per kill, which is twice as much as the AK-47, for instance. The gun doesn't succumb to a major loss of accuracy when moving, so pro players are often very agile using this compact SMG. But of course, there is a downside to the MAC-10. It has horrible armor penetration, and in long-range combat, it's a terrible mess. Now let's check it out. And here we are on Overpass to look at the MAC-10. The MAC-10 isn't quite a one-shot headshot to opponents without armor, but it does hurt the CT here a lot, as he only has 7 HP left. And if you compare it to this armored opponent, who has 47 health left after a headshot, it really highlights the MAC-10's poor armor penetration. Now, I want to show you how not to use the MAC-10. Just don't use it on long range, okay? But now, I'll show you where to use it. Here, you see 2 CTs creeping out of connector. With a MAC-10 in his hand, our T player waits to strike. He engages the CTs, and kills them both while jumping. He can do this because the gun almost doesn't lose any accuracy while in the air. Another place where the MAC-10 is really strong is in close quarters combat, once again shown at connector here. After a fancy pop flash, our T player mows down the entire CT force in a matter of seconds, thanks to its decent fire rate. So the MAC-10 can be very useful in some rounds. It butchers naked opponents, and it can do it in a matter of milliseconds due to its fire rate. It's often used to get a good economy going, but when it's against all-out armored opponents and in a long-range fight, well, the round is pretty much over for you.
Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Now, Chad, we could start to talk a little about some of the conflicts or wars that weapon has been used in. Not necessarily pertinent, but we could talk about Cambodian conflict, the War on Terror, the invasion of Grenada, the Lebanese Civil War, the Miami drug wars, and more importantly, eco rounds, where you can see the MAC-10 come out in all its glory and start to garner you some money. Now, getting away from that just a little bit, we can start to talk about our first matchup in NaVi G2, Chad.
It's a load on my shoulders right there. I thought you were going to talk about Vega Squadron using it on force buy situations and rushing banana.
I wasn't going to talk about that, but we can at some point start talking about
the Vegas strats. They love the MAC-10s. But if you want to get talking about this game, we need to look at how many games NaVi have played in recent times. They have just been chugging along this week. I think we've seen them every single day so far. Yep. And once again, we get more out of them. Now, these guys, let's just state some things, have been giving us some bloody entertaining Counter-Strike. They have had a lot of games where they've been not from behind, you know, they grind to a certain point. The other team looks like they get to 14 rounds and that's all she wrote. And NaVi kick it up a notch. That's where we see the clutch impact of players from like Simple, Electronic with his impact frags. Everyone from this roster from NaVi throughout this week has been playing very well. And Simple now, Trace, would you believe it? The highest rated player in ESL Pro League at the moment. Who would have thought?
No way.
Yeah, man. The best player in the world continues to deliver.
I guess that's one question I'm going to have is, Chad, just from an outside perspective, how is it this guy can continue down that path of domination?
The thing with Simple is he does have a very flashy play style, right? Very sporadic in his approach a lot of times, and he does things that you may not expect. But what is so good about him is his awareness, you know, his mechanical ability to hit these shots time and time again. You combine that with the likes of Electronic, and that's why they're so exciting, right? You look at a team that they're going to be playing later in the day, Astralis. These guys do everything by the book. NaVi have thrown that book out the window and they brought their own approach to the game. That's through, you know, the constant force buys, using their stars to their absolute biggest potential. And you are going to have rounds that slip away. You are going to be losing silly situations because of the way that you approach the game. You're not dotting your I's and crossing your T's all the time. Sometimes you're using a bit of messy cursive like a doctor.
Like quick freehand.
Yeah, you know how those bloody doctors don't know how to handwrite.
Yeah, something writing weird prescriptions. Either way, let's talk about this this NaVi team, and I guess we've exhausted the storyline where it is that they've come from the major and having their defeat. They've had just a little bit of off time, but there's no off time in playing all of these matches. In fact, I believe the first day we saw them here, they had 3 games go 16-14, and then the 4th one going into overtime.
Yeah, they love those close matches, and it does need to be noted that they had the highest of highs making it to that major grand final, then the lowest of lows going out in pretty poor fashion at ESL 1 New York, but they took that time off, and now they're looking revitalized. We're just getting highlight package after highlight package of these guys slamming their opponents. But as you stated, there have been close games. They have had to fight for these matches, and I don't know if that's taking a toll on NaVi. Of course, they would love to win their games easier than that, but this is the Pro League. It's always very competitive within the realms of online Counter-Strike.
Specifically, these teams trying to either hitch a ride to Odense or perhaps road trip it, fly it. I guess you can't really fly to Odense.
You probably could.
Unless you're Astralis, who are flying their way right now through these rankings. But either way, we're not talking about Astralis anymore. We're going to be starting to talk about G2 now, Chad. Just some real quick notes before we jump into G2.
So G2, I think we have to look at this team if they're built to be 3 supportive players and 2 stars. And those 2 stars that we'd be looking towards are the Kenny S's of the world and Shocks. Now, throughout their time within the Pro League, they've had some really good results. So those 2 have been carrying. They've had some close results. They've actually picked up a couple of victories that we wouldn't be expecting. I think the reason we say that is because this G2 roster now has been together for a decent period of time, and we thought we would see these results more consistently from them. But I guess you have to say it's positive. These aren't negative signs. I don't think they're not world beaters right now, but they're not performing below what we'd expect for a team in Pro League. So if you look at it within that context, everything's pretty good.
I mean, technically, they're still in contention to make it to the playoffs.
Of course, yeah.
They're still in contention to make it to Odense, sitting at 27 points. Yeah, I mean, they're just underneath that 3rd place.
Yeah, well, you know, they have to use certain play styles to get there, Trace, and I actually want to point some of that out.
Let's do that. Let's go for a little walk, Chad, and let's see what it is that you have to point out over here on this handy-dandy 85mm.
Well, we are talking about Inferno, Trace, and I just wanted to highlight one of the most important parts of the map like we always do, Banana, right?
Okay.
We're always talking about that. Now, this is the way that G2 in the match against Astralis were actually plying themselves in that part of the map. So what I want to focus on here is there are 3 members you can see going over towards the top to stop this part of the map from being overtaken by the Ts. But Astralis are the type of team who really like to fight for control. Now, if we can play this one out, I'm going to point out little bits and pieces as she's running. This is the Molotov from the Ts. This is to make sure that the CTs cannot push aggressively and go for a pick. This is also what I want to point out is a down the mid Molotov from Shocks who goes aggressive with an MP9. Now let's just stop it here for a second. If he's pushing aggressively with the MP9 like that, this guy's got some balls of steel. But that kind of goes without saying. The focus is on Banana. Now we've had those 2 Molotovs come in that you've seen, and now we're going to flick our attention back there. It's how the use of the nades now come in, because this player who's rotating away has already used all of his utility, and he's going to be heading back over towards that A-bomb site. So let's play out the clip. Now you're going to see the 2nd wave of utility now getting used from the 2 players in Banana, and they've done so much damage.
Now, aside from the damage, let's also talk a little about what utility they've had to draw out of the T's, because right now, just making their way up Banana, they're having to extinguish Molotovs, they're having to use a lot of smokes.
Well, let's just pause it here so we can actually talk through that. So the smoke grenades that you can see exactly have been used to just keep themselves alive. You can see down here, they've already lost 2 members, and Device, one of the other Banana players, has taken a lot of damage to this point. So not only are they expending utility to hold on to Banana, that makes their life a lot more difficult when they want to actually initiate onto a bomb site, because they're running out of the bits and pieces they need to do a set piece.
Right.
So right now, I just wanted to look at the fact that when you have 1:20 left on the clock, they've already made 2 kills, they've already done that much damage in Banana. They're able to stay postured, as you can see here on the minimap, towards the top of Banana and take those fights. So we're going to play out the clip now. These last 3 players from Astralis don't really have too many options left, right? They need to group up and try and trade, try and find an opening. But as I mentioned, the posturing towards the top of Banana is still here. And as they want to take the duel, the guys from G2 are more than happy to keep fighting. And that's all she wrote for that one. And that's just using your utility to make sure that Astralis can't have Banana for free. It's hugely important.
Yeah, absolutely important. I mean, we can talk about map control across different maps. Specifically, Inferno, though, you don't want to be beaten all the way back to the T ramp. I think that would spell disaster for any T side, because you really have nowhere to run.
Well, you could see that Molotov that was thrown by Shox at the start of the round, right? That one going down middle, and then the top Banana Molotov coming in from the likes of the B players, which I believe was Smith, the player who rotated over early. The reason for that, you know, it actually keeps the Ts either stuck at T stairs, like you mentioned, or at the bottom of Banana, where they can have an onslaught of grenades coming their way.
And if we have enough time, perhaps we could load up the overview of the Inferno map just to, you know, kind of run this a little bit further, Chad. I know you really like to theory strike. I know you like to drive a few points home.
I like to point at screens, get my fingerprints all over this bad boy.
Let's do that then. Let's talk a little about what we can anticipate, at least on the pistol round setups here.
Okay, so the pistol round, the traditional setups that you will be seeing from most teams will involve, on the CT side, let's start there. If you get a decent spawn, you can actually push from spawn, come through, run across middle. You can actually not going to stop. You're just going to be running past, give a bit of attention down middle to see what information you can give your teammates. And they normally follow through Boiler and do a nice little jump across. And the reason for this play is you're not actually looking for kills, you're looking for information. So a lot of teams like to run that early to make sure they can get an idea of where the T's are headed. Now, the B bomb site can also be a point of contention, and some teams do this spawn base, some teams do this, you know, if they want to really feel confident they have a player who they know is going to grab a kill with the pistol, they'll send someone aggressively B to take a spot down Banana. Same kind of situation, right? You're playing for information so you can hedge bets and rotate players around. Right. From there, the world's your oyster, right? However you want to approach this, are you scared of the B bomb site? Do you not want to retake that? Do you have utility? What kind of setup do you want to play? I think on a map like Inferno, the CT should be playing more heads up, because retakes, giving the Glocks room, is very difficult. I think you should be more aggressive.
It's a very close quarter sort of combat rather than taking long range fights with USP, whereas that might be down the middle corridor. Either way, we are waiting on G2, who have suddenly, but dare I say, not exactly surprisingly, ran into a little bit of an internet issue. So before we jump into Inferno, Chad, let's kind of dive a little bit more into this roster and perhaps you know, that being the in-game leader that is Existence, and perhaps his playstyle he's imposed on the French scene over the years.
Sure. If you didn't see this team come together, obviously it was off a G2 roster before with the likes of Apex and MBK, who they weren't able to get the results that they needed. Kenny S and co, they thought that they wanted some more structure, and that's where Existence, the in-game leader that you mentioned, comes into play. When Existence is in play, he was one of the best in-game leaders throughout Source. Now, throughout that time, he was very strategic, had a lot of set pieces, and that was hoping that would trickle through to this new G2 roster. But they've done a fantastic job of managing expectations of the community, Trace.
I'm going to manage some expectations now and perhaps start to trickle more towards the desk, because honestly, I think it's time that we bring in our commentators. And, well, more than that, these guys, especially Harry, after the night that he had. Harry, tell me a little bit about your long night.
Yeah, I headed over to go do some of the NA stuff. That was fantastic. Big shout out to E United as well for 16-1ing those Rogue boys over on Nuke for a nice early finish. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this one anyway, Hugo. You know, excited as ever. It's going to be NaVi versus G2. And this is an interesting one for me personally, just because, you know, we kind of saw G2 look... I mean, they elect to play this map a decent bit, right? So they're clearly trying. NaVi, they've looked fantastic on it. Both these teams recently matching up against similar opposition in the form of Fnatic and North. And, you know, if you look over at G2, they split maps with both of them. Then on the side of NaVi, they split maps with North, if you recall, then took the 2-0 versus Fnatic. And one of those maps was Inferno. It was pretty dominant, if you remember as well.
Yeah, it's scary knowing that North aren't really exactly like the best Inferno team in the world, but still they were able to kind of just tear G2 apart in that sense. So NaVi being considerably good so far in the Pro League definitely doesn't bode well for G2, who are coming into this game not anywhere near as high up on the rankings as NaVi are, who have been almost flawless throughout this season so far. But let's see if that continues, Harry. Straight into the pistol round here for the first game of the day, and G2 on that T side are going to be trying to take over the A bomb site. Simple's up in the apartments, and one player's going to climb up, but Simple gets rid of him pretty quickly. The wrap through the apartments comes through. He'll give up the A bomb site as G2 are gifted control, but that bomb's still up on the balcony, and that's going to make things very difficult for G2.
Yeah, they're going to have to climb on up if they want to take that back. Now, Kenny over here at short trying to take this fight versus Edward. Does end up backing away right now, but Simple emerging from the balcony. Oh, knife out, and oh my goodness, that is full-on Assassin's Creed from this guy as he hops on out from the balcony. Does one of those, I don't know what they're called. I didn't really play much.
No.
Yeah, just like a nice little stabby boy in the back.
Yeah,
that was the official name.
That was a really nice round from NaVi.
Yeah.
Like, it's all down to luck in the sense of dropping that bomb, but actually, G2, one of the players climbed up to try and take down Simple. I think it was Smiths, and yeah, that lost the round entirely, because G2's just not able to get back up on top of the apartments with NaVi putting so much pressure on long, and also no smokes down for G2 in that pistol round. Certainly complicates it, Harry, but 1-0 for NaVi, nice clean start. Something else that is to note is the Betway odds. NaVi definitely favoured coming into this game, and yeah, that seems about fair. But yeah, after that pistol round, they should be taking this clean 2-0, because G2, limited investment, a couple of PT50s, not really too much to play with. Flamey's even gone for the eco himself, maybe pulling up that early AWP we could be seeing, or just trying to save some money in case anything do go down. Simple, he's got down into the underpass, 2 kills from him. The Glocks do their best, but only 1 frag's come through, and Simple's already on this hunt to try and get rid of Body, who probably doesn't have much longer to live. Electronic will get him. And NaVi, nice 2-0 to start off the map. Simple's coming into his own as well, 6-0 for him, and that's a player that we really want to see step up.
Yeah, he's getting off to a good start, and if you recall, I mean, the last few days of online games, he's kind of been the slow starter for NaVi. You know, hasn't been doing these awe-inspiring performances that we're so used to seeing from Simple.
It's typically been like the T-side starts for NaVi, and Simple really doesn't get off to the best of beginnings, but when they flip over to the CT side, even on Overpass as well, when we've seen that, he really comes into his own. He loves this CT side, and already into the first buy round, goes for the, you know, lengthy wrap round short, peeks into middle while G2 think they afforded free control, and there we go, Simple's opened up, and that is the AWP dropped over from Flamey, who ecoed the second round, so really nice round, or really nice start, sorry, from NaVi into this one. G2 losing Kenny S, and I mean, talking of Kenny S, Harry, he has been really one of the clutch players for G2 stepping up recently.
Yeah, for me, the 2 highlight players, the 2 players we're going to need to see continue their good form, it's going to be Body and Kenny S. Shocks, he's been, you know, we want to see him show up, but for me, he hasn't been that dependable star that G2 kind of need him to be. So, you know, obviously, if he could get within the realms of success, that'd be great. Existence has actually been pretty good within this team. You know, Fragged kind of taken up that mantle a bit more over Shocks, but that's certainly not something you can rely on every single time. In this round, though, already NaVi sitting pretty with a man advantage, and also Simple, full-on Bames John Ding. He's 7-0-0. And Body does manage one. Edward here, the arch side, gonna get bodied as actually second kill of the round for that man, but Simple, he's looking utterly fantastic, and he's gonna keep on finding frags, somehow still alive in the library, as he shuts down absolutely everybody. He finds 3 in this round, and in the blink of an eye, it all falls on to Smiths. 1v2 required here. But only 14 seconds left. He's got to go barreling on in. He has to try and find that bomb. He does isolate the fight onto Electronic, but Simple's already ran away, and in doing so, he's won this round.
Yeah, you could see him hesitate for a second, thinking maybe I'll take this fight, but no point risking that. Smith will not be getting away with that kill, and there we go. Simple, as you said it yourself, really coming into his own in this game. Misses the early shot, but bounces back with a couple of fantastic ones, dropping the bomb as well. Big round from him. And of course, he was the man to even open up that round, take down Kenny S in middle with the late peek coming through from short. So definitely a scary player to be up against when he's on form like this. NaVi now 3-0, and G2, they saved a gun. They'll be buying up a couple more around it, but it's a bit of a topsy-turvy buy here from the Frenchman. Nothing too heavy. We've got the Molotovs down Banana, but NaVi aren't capitalizing because they know G2 have these close-range pistols. Probably not the best of rounds to be pushing down Banana, too heavily at least. They're going to give it a bit of a go. Edward peers down, but not committing for the time being. The smoke's there. G2 have to wait for that to finish off or flash their way in. And they'll go for the latter, straight through. Zeus is on the other side. He does a lot of damage, but it goes both ways. He's down to 26 points of health, and Edward's been killed after only one frag, so now they've got to call for rotations. Simple going to move in, but look at the health here of G2.
Yeah, Smiths and Kenny both brought down so low within the opening segments of this round. Now going to have to start to try and figure out where it is they want to head. They have 3 smokes here, so if you wanted to hit this B-bomb site, you've got one for the cross down in CT. One can go onto the coffins as well. And you can try and save yourself one for the post plant. Maybe re-smoke CT. Simple has come rotating in now, and they keep that smoke up on Smiths. That's going to be a drop. Simple. Well, he is only good for one. Shock's going to go ahead and finish off Kenny S in amongst all the confusion. So now just him in existence remaining 2v3, but they have dropped the beast that is Simple. So now there's a potential way for G2 into this round.
Focusing so much on clearing out the site, but it's actually a retake setup for NaVi. Zeus going to go peeking in, curiously, and that will cost him his life, as now NaVi are going to be falling to a man-down situation. It's just Flamey, but he knows where both these players are. Crossfire established from G2. Flamey creeps in as well. Doesn't know which of the 2 oranges existence is sat behind, but now he's cleared out the first and does spot the corner, but he doesn't want to shoot and give away his position to Shox, who's also on the coffin, and just misses the head there as well. This is such an awkward approach for Flamey, but he spotted one, turns back around, but Shox is hiding, and he peeks out at the right time. 4 kills for Shoxy, massive round from him, definitely needed, and G2 starting things off well.
Yeah, that was almost such a good round from Flamey there. It seemed like he had everything, you know. He spotted the man at second oranges, and then, you know, immediately starts trying to piece together, you know, where is the next man going to be? Starts trying to find him. Almost manages it as well, you know, just a few millimeters, you know, a pixel or 2 away. And suddenly that could have been a very different round. Now it's going to be the eco from NaVi. Their economy has been broken. And, well, 3 players for this NaVi squad inside of the B-bomb site. G2, slow approach up Banana early on as they take control of this portion of the map. They've grown to love this B-bomb site, as they seem to look to try and find their answers here once again.
Ooh, bit of early damage from the Deagle, but shouldn't be too much of a problem for G2, even with the triple stack here for NaVi. We're going to be pushed back from the coffins. Existence finding kills through the smoke, and Zeus tagged down to half HP as well. G2 running over this B site with ease, and NaVi, they cannot get involved. Electronic even going down to the AWP of Kenny. I love that position as well, getting that close smoke down on CT, climbing on top of the boxes. Very minimal risk when you're up against pistols, because chances are players not even going to be pre-aiming that spot either. Zeus does grab himself a gun, but it's only an SMG, and he's going to have a hard time getting out of this position. Tries to take down body, but he'll be the one falling. Flamey all that remains now for NaVi, and it's looking like G2 will convert an anti-eco with only 1 casualty here. Nice second round on the board. Nothing Flamey can do for this one. So 2-3 now in favor of NaVi still, and they'll be coming in with a buy here, Harry. That's one thing I'm interested about, because Simple's got enough for the AWP, but Electronic hasn't got enough for a gun. So does Simple decide to drop something over, or does he just go straight in for the AWP and we'll see Electronic on an SMG? More likely that than anything, especially when Simple is 10-2. Definitely the man you want with the AWP. But let's see what NaVi decide to do, because they might even eco here with Flamey also just about struggling, and that wouldn't be a bad idea. But nah, buy going to be coming through. Simple going for the AWP. Everyone else half buying here for NaVi. Really just basing this round around a single player, but who better to do it around at least. Simple going to be checking down middle. And G2, they won't spot him early on.
Body, fast play in from the apartments over here. A Boiler does spot out Flamey. Let's Flame on over here towards the apartment side as he throws out that Incendiary to hold back G2. Simple. With this up, where's he playing? That's going to be someone to keep an eye on. He's over here towards short. And he does have players slowly but surely coming his way. That's going to be Shox and Kenny, the Dynamite duo of G2. Flash on round does hit Simple, and he's got to give up the angle as a result. So G2, in the opening stages of this round, taking control of the top of mid, establishing this default early on. You can see they leave Smiths over towards Banana, not going to allow any aggression to come through in this portion of the map either. Now Shox peeking onto Flamey, has found the man advantage here for the Frenchman, but Simple immediately going to take it back. He's posted up with the AWP, and that would be enough to send G2 away. They look hesitant now. They realize, Flamey, they only killed him. He had a pistol. The money wasn't great for NaVi heading into this round, and they know it. They don't want to run into that one Catalyst AWP on Simple, so it's back toward this B bomb site they go, but already players coming to rotate on round one of those being Simple, only Electronic here at the A bomb site. G2 about to fall for this hook line and sinker.
And they haven't got much utility to do this either. One smoke and 20 seconds left to actually get this one down. Simple's in a great position. They will throw it in towards the CT spawn, but there's still 2 more players here for NaVi on top of that AWP. Edward going to be falling first, but there's not enough time. G2 need to spawn down right now, and this shot from Simple, Zeus can only get 1, and G2, they saved themselves at the last possible second, but it's not over just yet.
Yeah, Electronic left in what was a 1v3, now turned to 1v2, and it's Shox and Smith left to overthrow, but he's just going to back away. The G2 will be finding themselves a 3rd round here.
And the reason we're actually seeing the save from Electronic is because Simple obviously spent all his money going for that AWP while everyone else ecoed for this buy round. By saving that AWP, Electronic can also buy himself and give Simple the AWP, meaning that investment in the previous round, or in this round rather, has not come back to bite NaVi in any way, shape or form. They get some good economical damage. They take 3 guns away from G2, and they still get a full buy in the upcoming round. This is, honestly, not best case scenario. They definitely could have won that stack, but really good situation for NaVi to be in, despite the scoreline.
So Hugo, how read up are you on Greek mythology?
Not as much as you, I don't think. I know you love your Greek mythology.
Well, actually,
Harry.
I don't really. Here's the thing, though.
Oh.
I figured I may as well do my research on Zeus after yesterday's revelation, shall we say. And apparently, I don't know if this is true, because I'm getting this from a website called softschool.com.
Shout out to them.
And apparently Zeus was raised by like just 2 normal people and a goat.
Can we clarify this isn't Zeus,
not the
in-game
player.
leader of NaVi?
The Greek god. No, Zeus certainly was raised by actual human beings, but well,
he is the greatest of all time, Harry.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Wow, I've only just figured out that's what goat means.
Yeah, did you not know that?
No, I didn't know that. Thank you very much, Hugo. We're making revelations here on the. I almost said the B stream. God, that's how long we've.
Bit of a flashback.
Yeah. But Shox over here at Banana. He's looking to make some revelations of his own. There's players for NaVi that were probing on down. They've since fallen back in towards that B bomb site. G2 only 1 man down. By no means out of this round just yet, and still with plenty of utility here. NaVi, 2 players towards this A bomb site about to be tested. You look at the names, that's Electronic and Flaming.
Oh, nice bit of nade usage there. Kenny's down to 55. That's going to make things very difficult now, and Electronic even smokes off the molly in the pit. G2 can wait. They don't have to rush this one, but they will forfeit this utility they've already thrown as that smoke on the balcony begins to fade. Body jumps in. Electronic drops the bomb, but he's been wrapped. Nice flashbang from Body to get himself down in the pit without taking much risk. Now the bomb getting retrieved, and G2 can put that plant on the bomb site. 2 players here left alive. And actually, they're not going to commit to the plant. They're going to make sure no one's quick flanking. They do have a bit of time to spend as well. Kenny will bang in that corner so Body can get into position. And this is good for Body. He can plant very open for Kenny's spot, basically leaving it down to Kenny to find an essential clutch, but he's not going to hit the shot on short. The smoke is down along to cut him off, and Body finds 2 kills. Massive round from him. Saving it is Kenny with the final one. And Harry, those are the 2 players you said need to step up, and they do exactly that in the 2v4.
Yeah, they certainly have, and I tell you what, worrying sign of the times for NaVi. It's Simple. He's been struggling these last few. Now we have the important players for G2 stepping up. Money's been reset once again for the NaVi side, so a chance for G2 to continue to build upon this lead.
Yeah, full nade stack for NaVi. They'll be throwing them down towards B, but can't imagine more than a kill here, or a couple. Not even going to get that. They saved 2 nades though, and that's actually all right. Going for a triple nade stack, you're throwing 5 is never going to get significantly more damage than throwing 3. But if you hold on to these extra 2, you can throw them later in the round when you know G2 is set up, and you already know that Smiths in existence are going to be somewhat tagged into this one.
I like that. I like that. One worrying thing for me with this good performance early on from G2 is, if you recall, you know, we saw them play versus North on this map just yesterday.
Yeah.
And they managed a 7-8 T-side half in favor of North, but, you know, still 7 rounds on the T-side. Fantastic. Then they get 1 CT side round. If you recall, that defense was very, very flat, to say the least. So hopefully they've taken some time now to go back and try and remedy some of these problems that they were having just the other day. They're setting up for this A bomb, so they're going to get it free. It's been fully stacked over towards B.
And on top of the fact that, yeah, okay, G2 have a strong T-side on this map, but their CT side falls off, this is a team they're up against that never gives up, Harry. NaVi, they can be down 10-5, and they're still going to have confidence to pull things back on that second half. This team has been going for the longest possible games we could have here at the Pro League. A lot of overtimes, a lot of 30-rounders, but a lot of wins, and that's what's important here for NaVi. So you cannot count them out, despite G2 off to a hot start on this T-side for sure.
Here's another Zeus, as in the Greek god,
give it.
not the in-game leader for NaVi. Fact. Not only was he raised by a goat, but he married his sister.
He married his sister.
Yeah.
Christ.
I mean, no, that wasn't his sister. That came later, actually. Yeah, that was a bit after, but
Wow.
yeah, man, I don't get Greek mythology at this point. Like, what was the rage?
What was the rage?
As in, like, you know what? I don't know.
I don't know. What was there? Was there a competitor? Was there a mythology 2? Like
Mythology 2.
yeah.
Yeah,
New
Mythology
release.
2 Electric Boogaloo. It's, the sequel we've all been waiting for. Ooh, yeah. G2, they're up 5-3. They're looking good. The buys come in for NaVi. And, well, Simple going to have that all back in hand. He was delivering with it in the first few rounds of this game, but now he's fallen pretty silent.
He was going for some early opening kills in these last couple of rounds that actually cost him his life, and that enabled G2 to not only get the early 5v4, but also not have to deal with Simple later in the round, which is when he can become most dangerous in these clutch situations, these 3-on-3s, when you give him loads of room to work. So now... now that you don't have him peaking aggressively early, it's very hard to get rid of him, and that is a great example. Kenny's just going to get domed. Simple's not done with one though, Harry. He's going back in for a third. This man is feeling it today. 14 kills already in the first 9 rounds, and we're not even done just yet, because Existence, he's alone, running to retrieve that bomb. Simple's up in the second middle as well, and there's all 4 for Simple. Maybe he doesn't need to peek down mid. Maybe he can just wait for G2 to come to him, because that's what's happening right now. And he is on 15 frags.
Yeah, Simple is looking absolutely unhinged, and this is one of these awkward situations now. We've seen from NaVi as a team, they've been playing fantastic. You know, we haven't had Simple stepping up every game. We've had great games from the likes of Edward, from the likes of Flamey, even games from Zeus where he's been top of the board. Electronic as well, you know, he's always kind of consistently up there towards the top. That's like his, you know, it goes without saying. But we've had all the other pieces of the puzzle fall into place for NaVi. Right now, though, in this one, I'm getting some flashbacks when we used to see, you know, just the simple hard carry. And I think we need to see a bit more of that. You know, we need to see a bit more from the rest of the guys on NaVi, as we've been so used to seeing these last few days.
Well, let's see if Simple can drag them through it regardless. G2 have another buy round here with Kenny on that AWP. Nice bit of saved money for G2 after winning their 5 rounds on this T side. Quick nade up Banana. Existence gets himself into position. Edward's very low as well. He's caught in the sandbags. A common position to Molotov, but they're not going to come bail him out. They actually leave him hung out to dry. Zeus throwing a grenade, getting caught by Existence again. A double kill up this top of Banana. And while Simple attempts to keep things in check, he's only good for 1 at the moment. Molotov down. Same story for G2, try and cut him off on the coffins, but he goes back in and he runs through a fully lit Molotov. That is risky to say the least. 13 HP. But it does make it that 3-on-3, Harry. However, look at Shocks.
Yeah, look at Shocks indeed. He's all the way out towards this A-bomb site. NaVi, they've got nobody here. Simple. Desperately trying to rotate in. Now, luckily enough, G2, they don't have that gift of the X-ray like we do. They don't have all of the information, so they've taken their time. They've given Simple a little while to get set up over here in the library. And on that bomb now looking to go on it down. Simple booking it in towards the site from library. Tagged down to 13 HP. 3 kills already for Hard carry on NaVi and Electronic up here in the apartments wrapping on round. But it's this flank from Shox that could tear this whole round apart. He does shut down Flamey, and now they have to turn their attention back. They have to try and flush out the man at short. In the meantime, Electronic barreling in, gonna get beheaded by Existence, and Simple has to ace if he wants to win this round, but it just doesn't happen. And G2, they do go ahead and make the decision to pick up the AWP. They grab that, they take it with them. Fantastic round from Existence. You mentioned how he looked impressive in the fragging department, and that continues for G2. They're going to move up 6-4 here on their T side, and once again, that reset now coming in for NaVi.
Yeah, that is a bitter pill to swallow for the NaVi guys, especially after these rounds where Simple's been opening up with 2 or 3 kills time after time. But of course, giving up that A-bomb site gives Shox a lot of room, and he's playing some fantastic CS as well right now, Harry. Top of his team, 10 kills on the man himself. Yeah, we're waiting for Kenny to come into his own maybe later in this map, because T-side is very hard to get an AWP off, and G2 put some time into considering this AWP. So Existence take a moment to pick it up. So pistols for NaVi. Triple short stack coming in here as well from the CT side. And Smiths, he's peering. Spots Zeus, nice shot through the edge of the smoke. And G2 already off to this man advantage. It shouldn't be too much of a task for them to get rid of NaVi, even with this triple stack, because they're all grouped up on short. The Molotov going to push Flamey back. Only 2 players armored. I mean, the B site's empty right now. We may just see that bomb straight up rotate, but G2 are feeling confident, and Shox more so than ever. 2 on him. Electronic's all that remains, and hell, this bomb doesn't need to go B, because there's only 1 man left up for NaVi.
I had respect for Electronic with the matching gloves and CZ. Not many people are prepared to go that committed. He certainly is. Always been a man for high fashion as Electronic. And G2, they're all about high rounds. They've gone ahead and found themselves 7. Looking good right now. But this is exactly the same amount of rounds we saw them get versus North. And that's, I hate to keep referencing it, but you know, G2, they look good in that game. We were believing, Hugo. They had us believing for a moment. And then it got torn away on that CT side, where it was one of the flattest defenses we've ever seen.
That being said, they're off to a start that's far better than against North.
That's definitely true.
They're on 7 up against Deco, and NaVi, despite having some fantastic rounds coming out from Simple, like you mentioned earlier, the other players have not been, you know, filling in the pieces, filling in the blanks.
My biggest worry there is Simple always seems to take a bit of a hit on this T side of this map. You know, he's sitting 18-6 right now, but can he keep that up moving into the T side? On one hand, it might be great, right? You might just be able to have Simple go unhinged every single round and run in and find these openers, find the things that kickstart the round for NaVi, and then they build a bit of momentum back into this game. But on the other side, Hugo, you know, let's say, oh, he doesn't get to use the AWP, or doesn't want to use the AWP. He keeps getting wrecked by Kenny, who's going to have a far easier time of things over on the CT side. There's a lot of ways it could go, but Edward, somehow going to tag down Smiths, has gone ahead and secured an early man advantage, picked up a Mac 10, and now he's got players coming his way, but no one else rotating from NaVi. This is a G2 round, unless Edward... I mean, there's no way Edward wins this, so...
Are you sure, Harry?
I'm actually, yeah.
Armorless Mac 10? I don't know.
I'm
believing
calling that. I can, yeah.
Wow. Oh, very, very ballsy,
Bold,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, bold, cool, Harry. Well done. Yeah, Edward's not going to win that round, and he doesn't even want anything to do with it either. He just runs away, so... Yeah, this reset's finally not going to be a problem anymore for NaVi. They can buy up in this upcoming round. They're going to have that AWP accessible as well. This really is a storming start for G2. We've got a lot of NaVi today, Harry, as well, so some definite long games. And this is only the first of many, and they are a team that sometimes take time to warm up into their matches. So let's see if that is a factor today. Flamey not needed to actually Electronic finding a kill on the exit. NaVi are doing really good considering they actually didn't buy anything really into this round apart from P250s. That's an AK. Run away while you can, Electronic. And even though the rest of G2 are down bottom banana, they don't want to walk through into this crossfire from NaVi, and I barely blame them. 8-4 though. Despite that nice round from NaVi on the pistols, they're still down by half. But we do have that double AWP coming straight into this buy round. Not seen it just yet. Not even really needed it, because Simple's been the one finding all these AWP kills. But now, Flamey, he's been a really good secondary AWPer for this team recently. And let's see if he can show it again. This is an unconventional setup. NaVi have gone for a solo A player on Inferno. 4 players on B. There's going to be early rotates. They're just throwing down nades to see if G2 rush. In fact, they do. So maybe they'll keep a few players here. They'll need them. Edward trades 1-for-1. Zeus walks back in with a similar situation. And now, G2 may feel the need to just burst this B bomb site. But if they do, there's 2 more CTs here.
Yeah, Flamey holding off from CT, gonna peek out wide and does dispatch of Kenny S. Smith's now creeping forward, has to be very aware that electronic exists in the back of this bomb site. Body very far removed, and Smiths has snuck by. Oh no, there's the peek in from electronic, and Body just too far away to do anything. He's gone full on Boeing, currently sitting 7-4-7 on the scoreboard. It is going to be him left in a 1v3. Will this clutch ever take flight, or is this not one? Over the record books, we can see that Flamey is going to start to run away, but Body creeping on in. Electronic jumping around on the fountain.
Is that a jump shot?
Yeah, he certainly looked.
It looked like a jump shot. I'd love to see that again from his perspective, because it didn't look like he was on the platform yet, but yeah, it's actually a really cool idea from NaVi, right? They play aggressive banana with 2 players who kind of just trade equally and go down. And then G2 think, oh, we've killed 2 B players within 5 seconds. Let's rush B. Smiths, he had no attention paid to that back box because they'd already seen Flamey, so they thought, okay, max triple B, surely. No one's on the site. But yeah, he's going to get backstabbed. A really cool setup from NaVi. Obviously, there's lots of ways that can go wrong, and you can't do that consistently. But hey, for one round when you're having a bit of a tough time, definitely a good call from NaVi. Again, the double AWP is kept alive as well, so that makes things even easier. And NaVi, again, another stack. This time on the other side of the map, we've got 4 players here. Only Flamey on that solo B position. Luckily, he's not going to be challenged for the time being. G2 hesitant to go back towards that B site that was such a nuisance for them in the previous round. A has been working well so far, so why switch things up? But with the bomb going up banana, maybe G2 want to go for a bit of a later approach, knowing that NaVi do tend to go for these quad A setups. It's only a bit of a fake. G2 just showing presence on that B side of the map. The other players setting up their smokes in second middle, and this does look like a bit of an apartments burst here, but NaVi, they are so poised and ready for this push.
Yeah, there are 4 players here, and if you're a maths fan, you'll know that that's pretty close to the 5 of G2. Here comes this push. Simple inside of the bomb site. Does have Zeus with him. Sitting down in the pit is electronic. Oh, he's just on the hay bale. He's holding close. And they barrel in. They're able to find him, but Zeus keeps the trades in favor of NaVi. Smith's even toppled on this wrap round, and it all falls onto Shox. He will get shut down. Simple cementing that 6th round on the board for NaVi. There's still a chance at a 7-8 half, which isn't terrible, all things considered, but an important thing to note, something that I'm a big fan of, is we have Shox very much alive and fragging in the server right now.
Yeah, that's been since the start of the game. He's really been coming into his own, him in existence, having some good rounds. Body is definitely showing to life at some point as well. It's nice to see from G2, but this time, triple B setup from NaVi. Once again, a similar position and great utility down banana. G2 have sent 4 players really quickly up, and all 4 of them getting tagged. Smith's even wallbang to make it even harder. He's going to try and chase this down, but Edward already finishing off the job. Smith was so low. Kenny will trade, but he gets burnt to death in the Molotov. Now it's just G2 creeping up on long, and that's another AWP as well. Simple finds both kills, and this has fallen apart for the Frenchman in round number 15.
Simple is just the fastest man alive. Existence left now in a 1v4, and they're wrapping onto him. It all starts, they get cut up by Edwards. Scissor hands over towards the top of banana. And the rest of the boys pull through. NaVi, a 7-8 half, still in favor of G2 ever so slightly. But we've seen how abysmal this CT side can be for the Frenchman. The question now becomes, have they done enough? Are they doing enough to have that change? And, one thing that does bode well for them is Shox in existence, as you say, having a good game. Kenny, very, very quiet, at least now going to be moving into the CT side. He can look to pick that AWP up. Maybe we see the turnaround happen then.
Yeah, this highlight reel for Simple here, essentially. That's what it feels like. Despite G2 having a lot of rounds, Simple really did carry NaVi through a lot of situations and even lost rounds as well. Actually, in fact, Shox is really on the board with this one. Definitely been having a nice performance as well. Oh, there's the shot from Electronic. I think he must have just landed. Like, that looked like he just landed on top of the fountain. Yeah, scoreboard's on the doors right now. Shock's existence, top fraggers for G2 on the side of NaVi. No surprise to see Simple in that position. And Electronic, I was about to say trading close behind, but he's closer to Flamey than he is to Simple. yeah, 8 rounds on the T side of Inferno is certainly not bad for G2. That's going to really look good going into the second half. It's just a question mark, Harry, of what is their CT side going to be like today? Because we already have mentioned it is not the strongest for G2 on this map. And I mean, we've even seen sort of a bit of an identity crisis within G2 recently when it comes down to that AWP usage. Kenny obviously being the primary AWPer, but on that secondary AWP, it's been inconsistent to say the very least. Shox has taken it at some points. Smiths has been on that gun. I think G2 really need to pick what they want to do with this.
I think like the issue they're running into, right, is you want to run it on Smiths, but he just hasn't shown he can actually, you know, provide reliable results with it. So suddenly you're in this situation where, you know, you end up giving a gun to someone that costs you almost $5,000 every round. That's a very hefty investment to make, and he just wasn't really given the sort of results that we needed to see. And you didn't have that guy who could step up alongside Kenny S. That was the problem, right? So you think back, you know, one of the kind of things to me was any time I watched G2 on Cash, especially whenever they tried to run the double orb setup, you'd have Smiths holding off down in mid, Kenny kind of playing between the B and A bombs, so it's just, you know, keeping it very fluid in that sense, but it meant mid was always so vulnerable as a result. So I think, you know, maybe Shox picking it up just out of maybe even desperation in some of these games.
That is what it seems like. Yeah.
Obviously, you know, there was a... Yeah, no, I don't know I'm going to go with that. But yeah, G2, they've gone ahead. They've invested into 5-7 and a smoke on body. They're going to go aggressive down here in mid. There's no kits, so they want to try and take the fight to NaVi. And NaVi, they're going to hear these footsteps. They're set up perfectly to deal with this. And G2, at this point in time, they're thinking, it's too quiet down here at the bottom of mid. We haven't seen anybody. They can't hear the footsteps over in alt mid. This has ground down to a halt, and now they're getting a little bit worried because NaVi, they've poised themselves. They're waiting for this, and Simple's going to manage a double before Existence comes in with that trade. It is a slaughter down at the base of mid, and only Shox left alive.
That was really nice from NaVi. They don't rush into things. They don't try and force gunfights. They wait for Simple to get in position. They get the guys in T-spawn to be ready to push up as well in unison with Flamey. And just all attack at the same time. NaVi overwhelming G2 there.
And I mean, I think, you know, G2, most of the times you see them play their CT side of Inferno, that's something that they try and run, is the aggression down through mid. And, you know, Zeus, clearly very worried that might happen. You know, we see it happen so commonly, I think, now in these pistol rounds, that if you are NaVi, unless you're just going for like a flat-out B rush, you are going to wait for that, right? But they get
NaVi love a
rewarded
wait,
for it.
Harry.
They do love a wait. As, you know, Zeus maybe trying to troll the rest of his team the way that employers do in the UK. You know, you send like the apprentice to the shop, ask for a long wait.
Some elbow grease.
Yeah, some tartan paint.
And
you know?
a long... no, you already made that one.
Yeah, long wait, mate. That was kind of
that's
a
the only one I
start
can
of this
think
whole
of.
thing.
Yeah. What else is there?
I don't know, just anything that isn't real, mate. But that sounds
G2
real.
CT side.
Oh, there we go. There's the burn. And
But let's see if they can prove us wrong here, Harry, because right now they're in an okay spot considering this is just pistols. I don't want to write them out before we get into this one, but it's in the back of my mind. Edward might not be ready for this. Reload's coming through. That's a long old reload on the MP5. It does able to take down both players, or is able, rather. And yeah, Smith, he's just got to be saving or giving it his go to save because Electronic is already coming into the banana. This could be a free kill from Smith, and it is. Nice shot. NaVi still get that 9th round, but this is to be expected after winning the pistol round. The conversions are seemingly far more clean. And I'd love to see the statistics now on how often we see 4 spies win. Obviously, we haven't had enough events yet since this money change has come through, but maybe in a month or two, like when we had a couple of top-tier lands, like what is the conversion rate of second round? Because sometimes we do have 4 spies. Let's remember, not here, but sometimes we do have 4 spies.
Yeah.
And are they still successful? Because again, you have a little bit more money to go for this 4 spies.
I mean, the thing that I loved as a result of getting to see some of the NA games last night is seeing the difference in how the two regions are approaching it, right? Yeah, NA taking, you know, the approach of 4 spying normally in that second round on the CT side every time, and then just ecoing on the T side, right? Which is, you know, really how I envisioned it would happen. But here in EU, we've seen a lot more of these full eco second round CT side, and then going for this 3rd round buy.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's interesting to me that it's the NA guys prioritizing that utility, you know, getting out the weapons early, maybe having the chance to upset. I figured it would have been the other way around, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. That does surprise me. Interesting to see there is much of a difference, though, because, yeah, it really has been consistent lack of forcing so far in the Pro League in these last couple of weeks. For now, though, G2, pretty well armed, considering this is the third round bye. We've got NaVi taking control of Banana. Body's alone on this B-bomb site, and that's a bit of a peculiar one, because NaVi, they've got 5 players here. G2 definitely have to consider a rotation once they start to work out what's going on. Electronic setting up a Dark Molly, potentially. He's going to move backwards to throw it, or forwards, alternatively. That's not going to be Dark, that's going to be Pillar instead. Molly, he's fully flashed, fully blinded, and fully mollied out of this position. No way he can play this B-bomb site. Got to wait for his team to rotate, but do G2 even go for this? Again, retaking can be so hard. And although they do have a kit, NaVi still have a 5-on-5, and while maybe on Cash, a 5-on-5 retake, that seems very good for you. Not on Inferno. Not on Inferno.
Yeah, most definitely not. If you're G2, maybe even considering the save at this point in time, and indeed they are. They're going to back away. They're going to give this one up. 2 players over towards A, just so far removed from this round. You look at how long it would have taken for those rotations to come in. And we might have a round where 10 players stay alive. Hugo, I tried to ask you to name this once.
Yeah, we didn't have one.
I've given you some time now to go away and think of a name. And if you haven't done your homework, if you haven't prepared, then Trace is going to come in here and he'll be furious. So, what do we call this round? Go, this is your chance to make CS history. 10 players staying alive.
On the spot like this. I don't know, dude. I don't have anything interesting. I don't have anything funny. What do you want from me? A unicorn round. We'll go full Henry G.
There we go, mate. We've gone the Henry G route. I mean, you know, that's plagiarism at that point.
Yeah, really.
But, you know, you've tried. I guess
I'll give it a think. I'll give it a think
okay,
next
you
time.
Can give it
For
a
next
think.
time, because we will eventually get one of those. Chad's walked in looking very, very upset with me.
Yeah.
He's not a happy chap.
Well, we've tried to give you a moment, Hugo. You know, we put you on a pedestal for the world to see, and you failed.
I was not aware that I was going to be tested on this, Harry.
Well, you know, it's a pop quiz, mate. That's just how the world works sometimes, bud. But NaVi up 10-8, not 8-7
yeah.
as the scoreline. That was the score at the half, so you can see how well NaVi have done. That's why we've done this, by the way. It's intentional. You know, bottom left, that's the score at the end of this first half. Top of the screens, you can see right now, NaVi going flawless thus far on this T side.
And that's already what we predicted coming into this game. While we're very early, let's remember, G2 have only had 1 bye and they went for a 5-on-5 save, but yeah, we are a little worried for G2 coming into this second one. And so is that Chicken, cornered, hiding, trying to shield his eyes. Well, Existence, look at this one. He's got nothing in front of him but plain old smoke. He goes for the kill to Electronic. Zeus is still here, though, and Existence is going to get out the body. He's committed in the corner. Zeus gets away with that frag, and now he's going to throw one of his own up the top of Banana, trying to keep Existence at bay. Lots of damage done. And even though G2 still continue to try and take this Banana control, I'm not sure how successful it will be. It's fantastic from Existence. 20 points of health, not going to stop him with the rush, and now they're back in the lead.
Existence is able to get away, so fair play to him. 12 HP, he was trapped there, backed into a corner, but he's able to get out of that situation. And now NaVi a man down and setting up outside of this B-bomb site. They are going to have to worry about Existence and Shocks. But they're both down in CT, so NaVi going to be given some precious time to start to edge forward here. Flash is now raining in. This push looking to come on through. Existence boosted up. He manages 1, and that's already good enough, and he hops down, and actually they are able to trade him. Shocks hiding in the smoke in the meantime, pushes through and finds a quick double. So that'll be G2, a 9th round of their name, and this one looks like it's going to be a very close matchup indeed, as now we see G2 starting to find their footing a bit here on the CT side.
Exactly what we wanted as well. We want a competitive game after that first half that G2 really, gave NaVi a storm. Because again, taking away the context of a poor CT side, they had a ridiculously strong T side. 8 rounds is very, very well played. And NaVi, they've yet to have this AWP on simple, so again, flat rifles here for the T's as G2 pull up their own AWP on Kenny. He's going to be up on short. Pretty common spot to see Kenny in. I mean, half the map is. He loves playing this rotational AWP, moving around the map. constantly getting in the face of his opponents, and he's going to be doing that now as NaVi look to walk up to A. Looking Banana in the meantime, don't take your eyes off that, because Body and Existence have got so much information from this deep B push. Even though NaVi are fully committed towards long, G2 are ready for it, but Smiths is going to go down early on. Electronics found him on long, so NaVi now taking a man advantage. Library and Archway getting smoked, but Body will not be letting them wrap back towards B. And even though NaVi give it a go, Body is in position holding here. Existence watching that CT spawn split from the Library as well. And right now, it's all down to where do NaVi commit? Because they clearly have an idea that G2 are found aggression on B, but they don't know the Body is so far down the ramp. Kenny with an important kill to flame me down in middle. Existence going to find one in the CT spawn as well as NaVi attempt to go in behind enemy lines. And now Edward running back. He's surely going to get caught by Body here, but Body lets him pass. He goes back in for the second and the third. This is wonderful from Body. Magnificent, if anything. And he's going to spray down 2 players. Bomb dropped. NaVi were not expecting that.
They most certainly were not. They've been torn limb from limb by Body. The irony, almost too strong. And now Zeus left in a 1v4. He's just going to back away and look to try and save. And indeed, it looks like he should get away with it, but Bodies hit the floor as they drown in pool. It's going to be G2 finding a 10th round, all tied up. As we head into this 21st, there's going to be very little money left for NaVi once again. That problem rearing its head once more. And when you've been so reliant on a man like Simple at finding these rounds, you need to have the economy for him. And now they've decided to throw in a bit of a force buy here. They're only going to have 3 rifles with them until the next round. This is something that we've seen NaVi do a decent bit, though. Molotov going to tag up Electronic down to 50 HP.
G2 again throwing in that early banana control, but not holding on to it for too long. Again, a case of being up against pistols and not wanting to take close range fights versus players that can easily flash their way through that smoke. Again, you're more likely to be playing against more random approaches to these rounds when NaVi have pistols in play. They can afford to take risks that they wouldn't want to do on a rifle round because, again, you're supposed to lose this, and sometimes those risks can result in NaVi running away with these kind of rounds. Banana's gifted over. G2 go for the boost. Existence up on top of that as Body sits close by. This is nice to see as well, but I'm sure NaVi will expect this, even with Body trying to bait them in the CT spawn, just showing his face. Smokes off Banana, sprays away. And he's probably going to wrap back round through ruins as well, unless he wants to give NaVi the bomb site. This would be a big risk. Luckily, NaVi don't have a smoke for this one. Crashes over the top, line up for Body. He's going to find him in through the smoke. Existence even drops off and tries to help his teammate out, who's running out of ammo. Kenny S is even picking up kills from the back of the coffin as well. And this flank coming to try and seal the deal. It's only Simple left up, and he doesn't realize that Smiths is behind him as well.
Yeah, Simple is desperate to stay alive. The only issue is they're all around him. Like moths to a flame. They're going to start to push on in after time. Oh, he's able to drop Smith, so Simple stays alive here and actually
Oh my God.
somehow defies the odds. G2, though, this has been a much stronger game than what we've been used to seeing from them. NaVi, currently the team, I believe, still with the highest win rate in the Pro League thus far for the European region. They sit 10-2. 13-3 would be the next nearest competitor up on Astralis. G2 currently 4th as well, hot on the heels of NaVi in the leaderboard rankings. Of course, you want to try and be in that top 7 spot to secure your spot at the Pro League finals. You go. What Danish city are the Pro League finals in?
Odense.
There you go, everyone's favorite. That was a little bit Spanish sounding, but I think
I
you
got
nailed
told
it.
by a Dane that
I just figured you had to really that was probably almost it.
NATO Sapphics, who lives in Odense, was telling me that you've got to pronounce the D as a TH, kind of like a the sound. Odense.
yeah.
But with I don't know. I gave it my best, Harry. I gave it my all.
See, I don't know. only time will tell. Be sure to tweet at whatever your at is to let Hugo know if he's nailed this one.
Use the hashtag ESL Pro League while you do. Don't forget.
There we go. That's on the screen. You can read that one. It says it right there. And thank you very much. So yes, we're into this round. It's a 4-on-4, and that's all thanks to Electronic finding Shox, maybe getting a bit too big for his boots down at the base of mid. A minute and 5 seconds left, so the NaVi, this is a good 50 seconds of exploration across the map before they decide where it is they want to end up.
And B's more than likely the two, because if we look at the utility, NaVi only have 2 smokes and 2 mollies. Now that's all you need for B, really, to get in. Obviously the post plant going to be a little bit more difficult, but NaVi not opting to go towards B. You can definitely do it on A, but again, you're going to have a more difficult job. However, NaVi may be expecting a 2-2 setup here from G2, which would definitely make A seem like the better call. Smith is peeking. He's going to walk to his death, giving away the man advantage here to NaVi. And that will surely cause him to go for this push. The Molotov will cut off this mid play, but Edward's got a smoke to cut off Kenny instead. And while he's wrapping back towards B, that couldn't be more wrong, as Body is going to be alone on this site. 20 seconds left, NaVi about to fully commit.
Already toppled, already dropped out of this round, and Electronic going to be getting this bomb down. Just Existence and Kenny left, they're going to have to save. This is an 11th for NaVi. Hugo, I went away, I crunched the numbers.
Yeah.
What if I told you? Yeah, NaVi, they have the highest win rate in the Pro League thus far.
I would believe that.
83%. 81% is the next closest. That's over on Astralis.
That's some numbers, Harry. Who's played
Those
more?
are numbers. Who's played more?
Yeah.
Astralis, admittedly.
You could argue that that's somewhat better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is arguably the better result. But that doesn't matter. Look, we're not here to talk about numbers, Hugo. You and I, we're not mathematicians. Let's not pretend
Speak
that we
for
are.
yourself.
Hugo, did you have college?
College?
Yeah.
What, are you talking British college?
Yeah,
No, I
obviously.
did sixth
I'm not
form.
American.
It's not college, but different.
What did you study there?
Not maths.
Not maths. That was the option.
Yeah,
You just picked it.
Only,
You're like, yeah,
only not maths.
I'm just going to come in and
You
just
cover
study not
everything,
maths.
essentially. You
Yeah.
cover everything except maths.
Yeah, man, that's so
Anything that's ever
worldly,
happened.
you know? Yeah, that's good.
I'm pretty educated, Harry, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to brag.
Not in
but
maths.
That's like a humble brag. I don't know maths, but I'm pretty smart at most other things. Well, okay, let's see. Zeus, he's got ahead of come up with trigonometry. He's lined up a nice little Molotov to try and... oh, actually, he's going to get Molotovs, so maybe not. Maybe he should have been...
Doing some science.
Yeah.
Learning about water and smoke. I don't know, dude.
Learning
This
that
is an
fire
exhausted metaphor.
painful. It is an exhausted metaphor. But his body, an exhausted individual, and good thing, because Existence is going to go ahead and give him some time to nap. He shuts him down. He takes out his teammate, Hugo.
But he is very low in the process. NaVi definitely do have a way back into this round. Lots of utility to pick up that kill onto Existence, who's sitting on 8 points of health. In the meantime, Flamey's still lurking round A, and that could be a good opportunity once again for NaVi. Much as in the previous round, they overtook a site where G2 had misstacked. This time they've really misstacked, Harry, because they've put 3 players on B. However, no rush for NaVi. They could always double back. However, for the time being, with that bomb crawling in through the apartments. And just Smith's here with not a one bit of utility. And, oh, G2, they worked it out. Shox has pushed down Banana. Kenny's going to begin to rotate with Existence as well. And there's Shox stabbing the back of Edward. NaVi now realise that G2 fully know they're committing, so they need to hurry up and take the site if they want to commit. 20 seconds left up. This bomb yet to go down. Are NaVi bailing? Are they expecting Shox to flank all the way around and want to take B, or are they just going to save? It seems like that. There was definitely a gap in that B bomb site for a second, but NaVi not exploiting it. And for now, doing a typical NaVi save, holding on to guns. We'll make that just gun. Simple. All that stands, and Shox is going to go down, but it's not going to be much more. NaVi giving away that round to G2, and that's a really awkward one to be in as well. They had the opportunity to fast play A, but maybe with Shox on that flank, they assumed that G2 had already rotated those extra players over, when actually, in reality, there was still only Smith on the site, and NaVi definitely could have won that round, but again, no information for them, and too big of a risk. They'll decide to save guns. 12-11 here for G2. Lots and lots of utility. They are looking really good on the CT side, Harry.
Yeah, they are, and I'm wondering where this has come from for G2. NaVi equally serving some struggles of their own. Simple, just gonna stand in that Molotov till he burns to death. So already you've lost the only man really doing anything over on the side of NaVi. Currently sitting top of the board, 26 frags to 10. And it's been a very quiet game from Flamey, someone who we've held to such a high standard throughout all of these online games. Now he's looked so good within this squad almost every single time. He's currently sitting bottom of the board with 5 kills. We need to see a recovery from him. They're just going to get farmed up by Existence, who, by the way, currently sitting top of the board for this G2 roster. He's looking absolutely unreal.
Yeah, Existence really is gaming today, and he definitely can have those standout performances on this team. Definitely an IGO can frag, but it's certainly not consistent. But this is one of those matches where it's just all working out for him. He is playing some good CS. Smith's getting rid of Zeus, and Flamey was too far away to even trade that one. So Zeus's solo endeavor on that A-bomb site is left one man alone, and I imagine another save here because G2, they already found that reset in the previous.
We're very lucky as well, you know, to see Existence playing at this standard right now because G2 really need him to. Kenny S and Smiths both completely absent from this game. And, you know, those are the two players who frequently don the AWP for G2. I was hoping that we'd see more from Kenny with it on this CT side. He hasn't really had to just yet. It has more been, you know, the rest of the guys finding the kills already. But, you know, that's a worrying prospect, that the idea that you have both your AWPers missing on your CT side of Inferno. You think about how crucial Simple was to so many of NaVi's CT side rounds. G2, they just haven't had that. But
I think one big difference from this CT setup as well, which may explain Kenny's lack of kills, is the fact that G2, they're going for all these heavy stacks and rotations, but they're not putting Kenny on his own like they usually do. That's a common thing, right? You chuck your AWPer, or at least your best player, that it typically is Kenny for this team, much as how Simple is for NaVi, both those roles. On his site on his own, maybe B, play that solo AWP and have the rifle stack up. G2 are not doing that. They're putting Kenny with the stack. And so when NaVi actually don't walk into it, they're facing not only other players, or if they do walk into the stack, then everyone else kills them before Kenny even gets an opportunity. Not to, you know, let's say that's for every case, but it's not like Kenny's been getting picked or been losing battles against Simple's AWP. That's been quite the opposite. Simple hasn't really slowed down though, Harry. 27 frags, he's still coming to life in the second half, but it's looking like it won't be enough for NaVi right now. G2 bordering 14 rounds as NaVi cobbled together their cash for that 26th. What do we have here? 4-man setup for G2. NaVi rushing up to it with pistols, and yeah, you really shouldn't expect too much here from NaVi in this round. They are very under-equipped. It's only Flamey and Simple who can really find openings with that Deagle, with that AK. The other guns are just going to be looking to support their players. That's a start. Tries to swoop in, tries to trade things back out, almost gives away a second kill to NaVi, and that could have been very, very bad. They've actually grabbed Norb. Zeus can give that over to Simple right now as well, and that can make things very, very complicated. Because now NaVi have weaponry, Harry, and they have the man advantage.
yeah, we've seen NaVi be able to win these sorts of rounds so many times in the past. They try and fake this out going back towards B. No one from GT hears these footsteps, but there's still been a rotation anyway. And RV just going to try and stroll on into this A-bomb site, but crucially, there's 15 seconds left. Now they've got to start looking at their watches. You've got to have your running shoes on. Existence, he's been good at spraying down these players, but Smith's now going to go unnoticed. Could save this round, but he's only good for one.
No.
There's no time, and Edward, if only he had slightly longer arms. Either that or NaVi had just got in 10 seconds earlier. It would have been the round for the NaVi T side. Instead, that clock turns against them. G2 going to be picking up a 14th round. And now, as a result of all these saves, the economy for NaVi, it's not fantastic. They can get a buy-in here. They're going to have the AWP on Simple. They're going to have rifles across the board, but the reset looming over them.
That is full-on revenge for the pistol round, where G2 lose their bomb on the balcony. It cost them the pistol on their T side. NaVi were fighting from long with USPs, and there was nothing G2 could do to pick that bomb back up, especially Simple in the apartments. But yeah, it comes back to haunt NaVi at the worst of times. Again, that was an eco. NaVi were supposedly fine with giving away this round anyway, but Harry, this has kind of put them in a really bad spot, because while they picked up some guns, and it won't be the end of the world, they all survived after time there. They all lost that round to time, so fact of the matter is, NaVi didn't get the loss bonus that they've been camping and waiting for. I want to see how much this is going to affect their buy. With the saved guns, they should be fairly okay, but yeah, no utility really. They've got full weapons, but that would have been so much more if they actually got the bomb down or even died. Luckily, they do have the AWP, though. That's one thing that they wouldn't have had elsewhere, or otherwise, rather. Kenny S was killed in that previous round, actually getting picked up early. So, NaVi have got that weapon on Simple, but he is going to need to go crazy, or someone else will. Because right now, G2 1 away from this 15th round.
Yeah, and if they manage to pick this up, if they go to 15-11, NaVi, as a result of keeping those players alive after the time, they're going to have nothing to work with into what could very well be their last game here on Inferno. At which point, by the way, G2, who are neck and neck with NaVi in the standings, going to go ahead and pull in front of them, I believe. Here's the push on out towards the top of mid. Body able to open things up. Smith's chiming in with another here. Well, it's all going the way of G2 right now. Only Simple and Electronic left up, but these are the two players that you'd want in this scenario. Holding close to the players in there, both Simple and Electronic. They have Molotov online now to go barreling through. There's players at long to try and mop this up, and now Existence emerges from the pit. This crossfire is perfect. It all falls onto Simple. He's got a 3k this if he wants to pick it up and reach 30 kills. He has managed the burst though. He's well on his way there. He just has Shox and Kenny left to contend with, but those are the two big hitters. Those are the two big names on this G2 roster. The bomb is down and out in the open, and Simple, he's on the clock. So little time left. He's going to get put down, and G2 match point here on Inferno.
That's all the bomb again, coming back to NaVi, sending it in first and losing it on long. And yeah, definitely a winnable clutch for Simple and Electronic there. 2v3, not undoable, but the bomb being down in the open just gives G2 that amazing crossfire down mid from long and short. And there we go, it's all history, 15-11 as you say, Harry. And there we go, this is the loss bonus really kicking NaVi in the teeth while they're already down. An AK, a Galil, pistol, a couple of SMGs. This is all NaVi can muster in what could be the final round of this map. G2 with a pretty monumental upset considering not only the odds coming into this game, but the streak of wins that NaVi have had so far in the Pro League. G2, yeah, they've got the same amount of wins, but they've got far more losses.
Yeah, they didn't get off to the best of starts. They have still played more games, and actually, they have to go flawless in this series if they want to overtake NaVi, but still.
Off to a good start.
Yeah, they're looking good right now, and now just 4 players left up for NaVi. You've lost Electronic, and alongside Simple and Edward, he's been, you know, that third man putting up numbers right now. You've already had him be eliminated early on. The rest of the NaVi guys turning their attention over here towards this B bomb site, but Kenny picking up Edward. That's the other man alongside Simple gone. He's lost his 2 right-hand men, and now he's left with the left-hand men. Simple.
They're less iconic brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Over here towards B does have Zeus with him. Flame is around as well. Now these two, they can be used as what we call cannon fodder. You send them in while Simple is there to put up the numbers. Zeus spot out the first man. Now Simple able to get one as they play the bait and switch. He gets the trade. Is he, however, ready for the second man? He's not. Body picks it up, 15 seconds. There's no time for Flamey. Even if he finds this kill, he's going to be in a 1v3. It's going to be absolutely monumental. And even Molotov's himself, Rob, he really is the left-hand man of NaVi. He's got 2 left hands. And G2, they're going to be picking up this match 16-11. They close it out here on Inferno. Fantastic stuff from them as they beat the odds and beat NaVi. Now they go neck and neck in the tables as well.
That's the most goblin setup on that B site as well from G2. I absolutely love it. But Existence on top of the boost, Body on the second boost playing anti-flash, and after Simple gets that first kill, there's no way he expects Body back on the boost. So yeah, G2 really catching NaVi off guard with some funny tricks on that B-bomb site. And what a fantastic game of Counter-Strike as well, Harry. We talked about it. Strong T-side from G2, as they typically show on Inferno. But finally, after a couple of weak performances, they were able to convert it on the CT side.
Yeah, we're going to have to throw this one over to a quick break. We'll be back with the second map after that.